called? So I have global and I have warming on it, and I'm going to align them. So press on align and make sure that they're aligned vertically. Okay, so that collapses them مع بعضهم. Maybe align them in the center. Yep. So align horizontally and not vertically. So you can see that كانوا هيك شكلهم, and when I press align horizontally بقربوا شوي على بعضهم. So like now على القد صاروا. They're aligned perfectly together. Okay. So I can position them anywhere هون. Let me put them تقريبا هيك. So now هول صاروا one element. So now we have the global and we have the warming, and now we have the shape layer as well. So let's rename that to background for global warming. Great. Background for global warming. Okay, so let's add the table to the right side. كان عندنا table ومع شوية statistics and columns and whatnot. So let's add them. So I'm going to select the rectangle tool هون, and I'm going to just click right here. هلا make sure everything is deselected by just clicking on the gray part هون, and I'm going to just click here. So هون تقريبا click and drag, قربها شوي على الحافة على الedge على اليمين, and then drag it down, and maybe we can position it like this. So like this. So that's good, not bad. And let's add another one. So عندنا table وعندنا table من تحت الصغيرة الrectangle. So I'm going to add another shape layer. So I'm going to deselect everything and just click somewhere هون and drag it out. So now عندي صاروا two shape layers فوق بعضهم. Okay. And let me change the color to something darker هون. So I have this fill color هون. I can press فوق and make this darker. So somewhere like this. Okay, so that's a good color. Um, let's see what we need to add. So we need to add بعد three more columns on him. But just give me 1 second. ثانية وراجع. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I have this now. Let me add the bars. So of course we need to deselect everything. So let me just close off a couple of things. بس كرمال ما نضيع. So now shape layer 1. So I'm gonna call this the name. I'm going to call this main table. And then هون I'm going to call that main table bottom. So something هيك تنفهم شو عم بيصير يعني بس مش أكتر. هلا هون في عنا شوية مشاكل. So let me zoom in and then click on and then drag it جرب سيعها هيك. So كبرها شوي. شوي من تحت. شوي من على الطرف. Okay. That's fine. Now the bars. So deselect everything. Click on the shape layer. Make sure it's rectangle. And just add it like this. So أول bar حيكون طويل شوي. So من هون. Say, and then we're going to click and drag down. مش على الآخر. We want it to just hover over the bottom bar تحت. So make it شوي thick like this and then let go. هلا we can always fix it if we feel like it. So هاخدها شوي لهون and then maybe make it شوي taller like this, and that's good thickness. Now let's redo that. So it's a bar. Actually, let's change the color for مرة. So we're going to press on the fill word هون and going to increase the opacity. 90 is good. Click again and then choose a color. So let's choose something yellow orange, something like that. So something that is close to the reference. Mm, This is not good. Okay, whatever. Okay. So let's add another one. So another shape layer. And let's duplicate it since we don't want to change the thickness. ما بدنا يكون عم يفرقوا عن بعضهم. So we just press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and we duplicated that. Now I can hold down Shift, click, and drag out. Where is it? There you go. So now if I hold down Shift, ما في يطلعها ونزلها, so I keep it on the same length. Anyway, it's fine since we're going to align them. So now we keep it شوي upright like this. And then again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then click and drag out like this. That's the last one. Now let's align them together. منه كتير aligned تلاقوا من هون أقل من هون this side. So I'm going to select all of them, go to align them horizontally, align them vertically. So not horizontally. We need to align them. We need to distribute them correctly. So let me just take that لهون. Okay, and let's check on the settings. So we want to align center. Okay, and we want to align and distribute horizontally. So now صاروا نفس الحجم من الميلتين. And let's check إذا عندنا أصلا شيء بعد. Okay, and I think that's fine. They are aligned. They're not aligned to the table well. Listen, no, it's fine. So something like this. Okay, so we have three bars now. Now this is going to be shorter. So I'm going to click and drag this. And then هنزلها. So we're going to need to align them again. This is going to be shorter than this one, بس مش قد هيدا. So something like this. Okay, so we select them again, align them to the bottom, and we distribute them horizontally. So now صار في نفس الفرق بيناتهم كلهم. And we align bottom. So now صاروا كلهم على نفس level تحت. So this is going to have a different color than the orange one. So maybe we go for something, let's say green blue. So somewhere, let's say this. Maybe we keep it the same color نفس الشيء فوق هيك. So they will consistent. Trying to get a good color. Okay. Now this, let's make it trace of the red, pink. So, well, like this, maybe this side is better. Yep, this side is better. So this is good. هون keep it عالية like this. And we press OK. So we have these three bars now. Now this bar is labeled by 01, this is labeled 02, and this is labeled 03. Now let me just rename them. So bar 1, rename bar 2, rename bar 3. Now عليهم حيكون في عنا text. So this is 01. It's going to be completely white. and maybe we'll make it smaller a little bit, so like this. We can put it here, and we can align them together in the center. Okay, so now they're aligned to each other, and we just duplicate that. So Control C, Control V. So 0, 2. I click, hold down Shift, and take it to this side, right? And I change the text, of course, from 0, 1 to 0, 2. I align them together in the center, and the last one, Control C, Control V. I click, hold down Shift, click, hold down Shift. عم بكبس على البutton. Click, hold down Shift, and drag that. It's not working well. So إذا كتير قوست معكم اوكي ظبطت هلا وتنحيتي ديك. So Control C, Control V. Click, drag. Great. So صار عندي هيدي. I can change that from 02 to 03, and we can align these as well. So align to center horizontally, so that aligns them well together. Now في أعمله is I can get all three, and we can align them to the bottom. إذا عندنا شوية فرق بتظبط. So 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, that's great, they look nice. Let's add for percentages. So we have the percentages. So this is like 35%, this is 25, this is 30, whatever. Okay, let them amount to 100 best, just to keep this consistent. So a text هون, let's say 35%, 35%, place it هون. Now let them be small, so we can have the same size of the bar. So something like this. We'll change the color by pressing on the eyedropper tool and clicking on the bar, so صار نفس الcolor. Maybe we can change it شوي so black, so something like this, غير hue, and then we're going to press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to duplicate this one. We click and drag it and place it here. So let's say this is shorter, so maybe we'll go for 25%, something like that. So 5%, we'll click on the eyedropper and select this color. Again, we need to select everything. Eyedropper tool, we'll select this color and we'll make it شوي darker. Again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I drag this up like this. Okay. And then I change the color, make it darker. Okay, so 35 and 25, that's 60, and then the end now. So let's change that from 35, maybe we put something like 45%, and this is 25, so it brings us 70, and this is 30. Okay, great, so we have this now. So no need نغيرهم since مكتوب شو text قلبهم. And now let's add the last element هون, which is the اللوزانج اللي حاطينه كنا تحت. So these are actually three different things. So we have three different elements. So the first one is going to be so في عندنا واحدة بالنص، واحدة على الشمال، واحدة على اليمين. الشمال وعلى اليمين حيكونوا أصغر and less opacity، وبالنص حتكون أكبر شوي. So let's draw the middle one first. So the middle one is going to be something like this. Now let's keep it proportional by clicking, holding down Shift, so we don't make it squash and stretch. So this is good. Okay. And now we can move it with the selection tool, and we can rotate it. So we press on the shape layer, we press R for rotation, and then we place 45 on it. So this rotates it up like that. هلا keep in mind that the pivot know we're going to have to work with that. But first let's scale it down. So from 100 maybe we'll place it around 85%, maybe a little bit bigger. So 90 is good. And we need to change the pivot. So أنا the pivot هحطها. So to change the pivot, you can select pan behind هون and click on this and drag it. لا في حطها بالنص. So once I place the pivot in the center, I can rotate the pivot. I can rotate the entire shape around that pivot. بس I don't want it in the center هون لأنه إذا حضرنا الريفرنس قبل ما نبلش الديزاين we can see that the center was actually to the left هون. So when I rotate, it rotates from the left side. So that's good. That's what we want. هلا بلكي بنظبطها later بس إنه this is good. ما نظبط كل البيفوتس أصلا. So this is going to be white. So around this, so not complete white, maybe a little less. And we reduce the opacity, not too much. We place it on, let's say 70%. And we'll add a stroke to it. So we'll press on the stroke, we'll add a solid color. It's not going to be orange, it's going to be black. One not intended. Let's see, is the stroke too thick? So we're going to have to reduce it. Maybe we'll put 3. Okay, so that's good. هلا this is the middle one. So هيدا الشيب layer I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it ما بعرف شو بدي اسميها. Maybe we can call it square middle, something that visualizes it good. منيحة عندكم connection انتو؟
انا عندي صباح.
اوكي تمام.
واقف عند الشبيبه يعني بس
انا وصل لي صورة هلا من حدا مش عم بيقدر يفوت او connection or something.
دكتور يعني أنا بقطش شوية بس بعدنا
اه
سميش ماشي الحال.
انا عم شوف انا عندي كمان اذا ماشي الحال. Okay, so that's the middle one. Let's duplicate that. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V. We'll press click, hold down shift and drag it to this side. So بنحطها هيك. And this is where we're going to make it way smaller. So we press S on the square middle and we scale this down. So like this. So this is should be underneath the middle one. On it. This. And I'm going to have to rename that square left and then duplicate that Ctrl C, Ctrl V. And we're going to call that square right. Click on it, hold down shift and drag this to the other side and select both of them and reduce the opacity. So we're going to reduce the opacity 50% maybe. And this is, we're going to increase the opacity because why not? So increase the opacity so we can't see anymore the outline تبع الهوديك الورا. So let's put it back at 100%. Now the last thing, we're going to write another text. So هعمل duplicate لهالtext, text, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, drag it down. Upload text, so I'm going to drag it up on it, above everything else. Double click عليه, backspace, and write statistics. So something statistics. Okay, so like that. So something clear general. Double click عليها and then scale down and try to fit it to the center. We'll make it bold as well. So just to put a good emphasis on it. لا. So like this. maybe we'll move it شوي. We can center them. ما بعرف شو عم بعمل يعني. هذا عم بعيني. Okay, so this is good. خلصنا الديزاين يعني منيح صراحة. شو بتخلص كانت. So let's start شوية animation. بفتكر رح نلحق اليوم يعني. So Monday فرصة. So it's going to have to wait to Wednesday. It's fine, ما عندنا شيء. And let's animate a little bit. So let's start animating من تحت. So let's close off these and let's animate من تحت. So the first one, which is the background, we're going to have to make it scale up. So when the pivot point طبعا the pivot point هون. So we need to change that. So pan behind. I click on the pivot point and I drag it to this side, to the left side. So حسب كيف الانيميشن بدها تكون عندكم وين بدكم تحط البيفت. So we need to take that into consideration. The assignment you can train for it. يعني already موجود الكونسبت نحن عندنا الاساينمنت. So it's fine. So if you want it to scale up from this side من هون, you're going to have to place the pivot on. If you want it to scale up بالنص, you have to place the pivot in the center. يمكن you want to place the pivot up there. You want to scale it from this side من هون. So it depends on what kind of animation you want. And I want it from this side. So I'm going to press S on the background warning on it. Okay. So we can solo that by just pressing على this dot on. So everything is hidden except the one that we're using now. And we want to scale it from the left side. So to animate, we just press on the scale and we want it to start at 0. Okay. And let's say we wait for like 10 frames, 10 frames, and we scale it up. So we place 100 on it. So now it took 10 frames, so that's like 1/3 of a second to get from 0 to 100. Okay, so there you go, that's scaled up. Now let's add some easing عليها, easing in and easing out. So we select everything, we press F9, so that adds a full animation to it. So that's scaling up like this. So it's popping out. Now the other thing that we want to do is the global warming. So the global and the warming. Now these are just animated on the position. So I'm going to select both of them and press P. So this will open the position for both of them. I don't have to open it one by one. And I just solo these now. So global warming. You can't see the global, but it's fine. We can see the warming. So we press keyframe on both of them. The stopwatch. This places a keyframe on it. And I'm going to wait for 10 seconds, 10 frames as well. As the start is not going to be from here. So we're going to drag these out like this, out of the screen, out of sight. And then we go to frame 10 and we drag them in like this. And we ease them in and ease them out. So F9. So let's take a look at that. هلا we're going to have to wait for the bar تيكمل على الآخر and نرجع نحط الكلمات بس it's fine. It's not the time for sequencing now. We're just animating. We'll sequence them later. Okay, so this is for
غير بس عندي سؤال كرمال الايزي ان ايزي اوت نكتب شو اف شو
F9.
F9 اوكي
Yeah. Or you can just select them, right click, and go keyframe assistant easy ease. So F9, you can see the shortcut one.
اوكي
So this is the long way, and I listen now. Now for the other thing, we need to animate the appearance of the table. So we need to animate them like they're coming into the scene تبعتنا. من هون اجت من الشمال. هون موجودة already على السكرين عندنا. So we're going to animate the scale هون. So this one, this table, and this table. So the main table and the main table bottom. So these two. هلا the pivot تبع المين table I want to place it on this side. And the bottom one, the pivot I want to place it on this side, so the left side. So one on the right and one on the left. And I'm going to select both of them. Okay, so both of them are selected. I press S to scale. And now if I just drag this down, you can see that they're being scaled كل واحدة من ميلة حسب البيفت تبعولتنا. جربوا ما تمحوها مثلي. So something like this. Okay, now if I unlink the chain هون, so constraint proportions, and I just do that now, you can see that I'm scaling it without squashing it on the height. So only on the width I'm scaling it. So that's what I want. That's a good thing to do. So make sure to uncheck both of this of the scale. So now we can scale them down on the width, مش on the width and the height. So they don't have to change together. I animate both. I skip to frame 10. So البيسز تبعولنا 10. عادة عم تكون البيسز تبعولنا 1 second نحن. بس هلا غيرناها اليوم since we want it to be faster. So I'm going to select both of them. So this and this. Just scale down to 0. Okay, so هاي الانيميشن هلا بدنا نعملها بالقلب نحن. Okay, so this should be 0 هون. This should be 100 هون, right? Since we want to do it the other way around. So I want it to appear. So it starts at 0 and it ends at 100. We select all of them and then we press F9 for the easy ease. Now we want to animate the bars. So the bars are right here. I'm going to close these off. So the bars. Now the bar هيكون البيفت تبعوله من تحت since I wanted to animate from the ground up. So like this as well. So the pivot point should be here. هو عادة the pivot point is relative to the screen تبعولتي. So that's why بحط لكم اياها بالنص. So we have to keep in mind where that is. Sometimes ما بأثر علينا. We don't really care. Sometimes we do, like in this case. So we select all 3 bars and we want to animate them on the scale. So I press S, it opens scale for everything. Now I don't want it to animate like this, تكون صغيرة on both sides. So I'm going to unlink the chain هون on all of them. And we're going to animate like this. So they're going to bounce up like this. So on the 0th second, I'm going to have to put everything 0 on. So صفروا كلهم. And then on frame 10, I'm going to have to drag this up. هلا المشكلة هون is that I can't put 100 since كلهم بيصيروا نفس الحجم. So I'm going to do this one by one. So the scale, the bar 3 is going to be around, let's say, add. And the bar 2 is going to be like this. The bar 1 is going to be like this. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, let's put this on 100. Great. So حسب lettering حطيتهم أنا. Okay, I didn't animate. So let's redo that. So turn this on, place it on 0. So this on 0, this on 0, and this on 0. We scrub لقدام شوي على الفريم 10. We push this up. Push this up. So make sure you press the keyframe, the stopwatch. It happens a lot where you're not animating, so you just where you work, but you're not animating, so you're not doing anything basically. Okay, so of course they're going to appear one by one. So all bar, tiny bar, تالت bar. We'll get to that in the sequencing. Now let's add the letters تبعولتنا. Now the 0, 1, 0, 2, and 0, 3. Maybe we can make them appear with the opacity. So we press T on the keyboard for opacity. Because O is designated for another thing, T is for opacity. Right? And I'm going to press on the keyframe, place it on 0, scrub لقدام على frame 10 and make it 100%. So هول إذا نسيت إنه أعملهم easy ease, so F9. Now this is the last thing. هول. I'm going to add plugin عليهم, so effects and presets. And I'm going to select typewriter. I'm going to drag them to 45 and typewriter to 25, typewriter to 30. Okay, so اختفوا عنا هون. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to press U, the letter U on the keyboard, so that opens up everything that's being animated. In this case, it's the range selector. So you have a start and you have an end. So إذا بقرب هون I zoom in, you can see the effect happening. So عم بينكتبوا كأنه مثل عم تكبسوا على الكيبورد. بس ليكوا وين الستارت ليكوا وين الأند. So I'm going to select both of these, just drag it to frame 0. So I'm going to drag them once, مرة, and then هلا بطيئين شوي. I'm going to make this faster. I just select these keyframes and push them to like, let's say frame 10 or whatever. هلا هول بنرجع بنبطئهم كلهم وبنشوف كيف هنشتغل فيهم. So let's see that from far. So that's good. Maybe we can make this a little bit faster. We can ease them in and out. Now this is for the letters. Now the square right, right, left, and middle. So the middle one is going to be actually the pivot تبعولها in the center. لا actually مش على center. It's in the right. It's on the left side. Sorry. ضيع منيح. It's on the left side. We already placed it نحن هون the pivot. Maybe you can fix that by just عليها شوي like this. Now these two تحت. هون البيفت حيكون بالنص. So هيدا بالنص more or less يعني. So not على قد. هيدا بالنص هون. Where is the pivot? The pivot is right here. We just place it in the center. Now the okay, the position. So I need to animate the position on this one and this one. So I'm going to select both, press P on the keyboard, and animate the position. And I'm going to drag them off the screen. Like this. When they're starting off, I want this to be overlapping with the other one. So they're going to come off as one single entity. I stopped through على frame 10, let's say. I push them up, push them in like this, لهون. And then توقف شوي. So هيدي بتوقف the first one, the left one. And the right بتكمل. So the right لازم تكمل. So another 10 frames, let's say. And then we push this one to this side. Okay, so كأنه اجوا سوا بس وحدة كملت ووحدة لا. Again, select these, press F9. We have this like choppy effect, that's good. And now the middle one is going to be both animated on the opacity and on the rotation. So I press Shift while selecting it. I press T for opacity and R for rotation. Okay, so rotation is on, now opacity, so now I have both. So opacity is going to be 0 and to frame 10, opacity becomes 100 and the rotation هون is going to be ليكوا كيف كانت الروتيشن. So ليكوا من وين عم حسب البيفت بوينت تبعولتي. So it's rotating from the pivot point that you see on the left side برات الشاشة يا أخي. So I rotate it from here and we know that it was in the basis of 45. So هون مش minus 65, I just placed 45 again, so رجعت محلها. Like this. So I select them, press F9, and this gets added like this. Now the statistics, the resting, we'll add a typewriter to it. Let's see how it plays out. So we press U on it. We select these keyframes, bring them to frame 0. And there you go, you can see it being written out. But we want that to be less. So maybe like this. So it's being written out. So على خلصنا. We still have the sequencing. So كل وحدة بتفوت بوقت معين وحدة ورا الثانية وهيك. So we will work this on Wednesday hopefully.
Okay, thank you.